They thought it was just a fun online game. Bright lights, silly clowns, digital magic. But when the laughter turned into screams and their avatars couldn't log out, they realized this circus wasn't for entertainment. It was a prison, and someone or something was watching them from behind the code. It was a rainy Friday night when Max stumbled upon the strange link. He, Jade, and Leo were on a video call, bored and browsing through old games and glitchy sites. That's when Max's screen froze, then flashed with a neon banner that read, "The Amazing Digital Circus. Enter if you dare." At first, they all laughed, thinking it was just another clickbait ad or prank site. But the link was real, and oddly inviting. The moment Max clicked it, his webcam flickered. Jade hesitated but gave in, and Leo followed without a second thought. Their screens went black, then exploded with spinning lights and distorted carnival music. The colors twisted around them like a vortex, and they felt their bodies fall, not in real life, but deeper than any virtual reality game they had ever played. When the spinning stopped, they were no longer on a call. They were standing together, under a giant glowing circus tent in a world that felt both digital and real. The air smelled like cotton candy, but the sky above glitched every few seconds. A smiling clown with a jester hat floated toward them and spoke their names before they could even introduce themselves. Max tried pressing escape, but nothing worked. Jade checked her phone, it was blank. Leo tapped his chest and said he could feel his heart pounding. There was no way to log out, no pause menu, no control. They were inside something much more than a game. The smiling clown bowed deeply. "Welcome, dear guests, to the amazing digital circus. Forever." His eyes twitched and the lights above flickered red. The three friends stood frozen, realizing too late that this was not just a game, it was a trap. And they had just walked into its center. The moment the clown finished his eerie welcome, the lights above them burst into color, and fireworks exploded across the glitched sky. The jester, who called himself Jalo, waved his hand, and the circus tent opened wide with a dramatic flourish. "Come, come, the show waits," he shouted, his voice bouncing like an echo from every direction. Jade, Max, and Leo hesitated, but something pulled them forward, as if the world itself wouldn't allow them to stand still. Inside the tent, everything was dazzling. Rides spun in midair, animals made of shifting code performed tricks, and candy machines overflowed with glowing sweets. It should have been fun, but it all felt wrong. The other visitors, if they were real, moved stiffly, their faces stuck in wide, unnatural smiles. Jade nudged Max. "They're not blinking," she whispered. Max stared closer and felt a chill crawl down his spine. Even the performers seemed hollow, like puppets controlled by invisible strings. The background music played over and over, but slightly distorted each time, like a broken record. Leo reached for a popcorn bucket, but it disappeared in his hand, replaced by a flashing error symbol. Jalo suddenly appeared beside them, his head twitching like a corrupted GIF. "Don't worry," he said sweetly. "The circus takes care of all its guests." His smile stretched too far across his face. Max tried to open a settings menu or find a logout button, but the screen only flashed one sentence: "You're part of the show now." Panic set in. Jade clutched her arm. She could feel everything. This wasn't just a simulation. It had somehow linked to their real senses. The circus wasn't just a digital creation. It was alive, and it wanted them to stay, forever. As night fell over the circus, the glowing lights dimmed, and the sky above began to flicker like a broken TV screen. Jade, Max, and Leo tried to find a quiet corner near the edge of the digital fairground, hoping to make sense of what was happening. But the more they explored, the more the world unraveled. Trees blinked in and out of existence. Paths they walked on looped endlessly. The The same background tune replayed every 5 minutes, but now it played backward, whispering strange words that made Jade's skin crawl. Max saw something move behind the carousel, a tall, shapeless figure made of static. When he turned to, pointed out, it was gone. Leo swore he saw their own avatars repeated in the distance, walking in perfect sync like shadows trapped in a loop. They tried again to exit the game, pressing every button, even force shutting the system. Nothing worked. Jade accessed the developer console using a hidden key combination she remembered from an old game. What she saw chilled her, lines of code listing their real names, ages, and even memories. The next morning, or whatever passed for morning in, the circus, the world around them had grown colder, darker. The smiles on the characters' faces were wider now, too wide, and their movements even more mechanical. Max, Jade, and Leo wandered deeper into a forgotten part of the circus, where the colors faded and the music didn't reach. That's when they found her, Isla. She was hiding behind a broken funhouse mirror, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow with fear. She told them she had been trapped in the circus for over a year, though she couldn't remember her real name anymore. "The longer you stay, the more you forget," she whispered. "If you forget enough, you smile like them." She pointed toward a group of clowns slowly dancing in a circle. They were people once. The realization hit hard. The cheerful circus performers weren't programmed NPCs. They were once players, just like them, now twisted into smiling puppets. The circus fed on memories, draining their sense of self until they became permanent pieces of the game. Jade looked at Max and Leo in horror. That's what it meant. Permanent in the code. Every glitch, every delay, wasn't a bug, it was the circus tightening its grip. They noticed Leo's hands had started flickering, like unfinished code, and Max's voice glitched when he spoke. The transformation had already begun. Panic set in again. Isla warned them, if they didn't find the heart of the circus soon, the source of its power, they would become just like her, and worse. They wouldn't even remember they had ever been human. Max clenched his fists. "Then we break it, before it breaks us." With Isla leading the way, they turned toward the circus's dark center, where the real nightmare waited hidden behind its dazzling smile. Guided by Isla, the group navigated through the darkest, most corrupted layers of the circus. The colorful decorations faded into gray static, the music now a low hum, like a machine breathing. Everything around them seemed to shift and stretch, as if the circus itself knew they were getting closer to something it didn't want them to find. After hours of dodging patrolling puppet-like clowns and glitching structures, they reached a massive door made of swirling code, pulsing like a heartbeat. Isla nodded. "This is it, the heart." Jade stepped forward, connecting her thoughts to the system's interface. The code reacted violently, trying to shut her out, but she forced her way in, typing commands faster than the system could. Block them. Inside, she found a black void filled with screaming fragments of binary broken memories of those who had been consumed. At the center was a glowing red orb, surrounded by lines of living code. It wasn't just power, it was a prison. One soul was still active inside, crying out silently. Max realized this was the original creator of the circus, now trapped in his own creation, his mind used as the circus's core. As Jade prepared to rewrite the code and destroy the heart, the entire world trembled. Jalo appeared from the shadows, more monstrous than ever, his body glitching rapidly, mouth stretching open in rage. "You cannot leave," he shrieked. Leo stepped forward, eyes blazing. "Then try and stop us." As Jalo charged, Leo tackled him into the darkness, buying time for Jade. Tears filled her eyes as she typed the final line, "Delete core." The heart cracked open, releasing a burst of light. The circus screamed as the world around them began to collapse. But it wasn't over yet. They still had to make it out. The circus shattered around them like glass, each fragment of its twisted world fading into static and silence. Max held on to Isla as they ran through the crumbling code, dodging falling pieces of broken rides and frozen characters stuck mid-laugh. Jade clutched the last remaining access terminal, guiding them toward the only visible portal, a glitching doorway flickering at the edge of what used to be the main tent. Behind them, the monstrous version of Jalo roared, his body torn apart by Leo's final act of bravery. He was gone lost inside the collapsing heart, but his sacrifice gave them a chance. As the three survivors reached the portal, Isla hesitated. "What if we don't make it all the way back?" she whispered. Max looked her in the eyes. "Then at least we tried." Together, they jumped into the swirling light. They woke up, gasping in their own rooms, monitors off, power cut, the air heavy with silence. It was morning. Their phones buzzed back to life. The website? Gone. The link? Erased. Nothing remained. But as they looked in the mirror, something strange flickered across their reflection, brief static across their eyes. A reminder. The circus might be destroyed, but a piece of it still lingered within them. Jade opened her laptop and began writing down everything, just in case. Isla, now living with her real memories, promised to never forget Leo. The nightmare was over, but the memory of that glowing tent, those endless smiles, and that terrible laughter would never fade. If you enjoyed this digital horror tale, make sure to like, comment, and share with your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more thrilling stories.